What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Daily Vape. I want to thank everybody for coming back. Today, I'm going to put some parallels on my Ronin box. It's going to be on this Twisted Messes 2. Now, everybody's been asking me how I do parallels, that kind of a thing. So today, I'm going to show you how I do parallels and the easiest way for me to do parallels, and kind of go over how the process is, what tools you're gonna need, that kind of a thing. All right. So without further ado, here we go. So basically, you're just gonna need some wire. Now I chose 24 gauge. You can choose different gauges of wire, however you want to see fit. This is just regular Canthal 24 gauge. Basically, we're going to use the tools you're going to need is a good pair of scissors for cutting your wicking material. Today I'm going to be using the Native Wicks, the puck version of this. It's this cotton. I really like this cotton. This stuff is really good, especially for higher temperatures or your lower ohms and stuff like that. So if you guys run, say, your competition style builds and things of that nature, try out some of this Native Wicks. This stuff is really good. Alright, so you're going to need a pair of tweezers. I recommend using something like ceramic end tweezers like these. I'll try to get a little closer. These work really well because you can pinch your coils as you're heating them up without having to worry about shorting anything out. So definitely ceramic tweezers are the way to go. You're going to need a pair of snips, and I just use some cheap Harbor Freight style type snips. You can get these, relatively inexpensive. They're probably a couple, $2 or $3. And then I use, of course, my tool for my RDA and stuff. I like these little tools. You get your like little 3/8 style type. It's got a Phillips head screwdriver on one, and then you have your two hex head styles on in different sizes or whatever on the other end of this. And of course, something to wrap your wire around. I like these old Husky style or whatever they call them screwdrivers, because they work really well and they fit in my hand pretty nice. But I mean, you don't have to use these. These are just what I like to use. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a length of this wire, and I normally just kind of pull off about I'd say somewhere right around, let's say about 7 to 8 inches of wire. This one's more like about a foot of wire right here. That's about what I like for my parallels. But if you're doing single coils and stuff like that, you don't need very much wire for wrapping coils and such in a single coil or single strand coils. But what I like to do is take my wire and bend it in half and about even, about right where it's at here, and then pinch the end of this, nice and tight, where you have this end of it. And you can kind of see, kind of get it together. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I mean, just get it nice and tight up there at the end. And then I take my tweezers, and at the butt end of this tweezer, I like to run the wire up into here like this. I hope everybody can see this. And then I just bend this over. And what this does is it allows you to have an anchor point for your wire. And then take my screwdriver, alright, and I run this screwdriver right down the end of this so everything's nice and paralleled with each other. And then I hold this like this and then make my wraps. So that first wrap I don't really count. It's kind of like my anchor point. But I hold this in one hand and hold this in my other, and it's a nice tight fit. And then I wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then I push this to the end, and then we're going to pull this lead right back. So that way, now you have a really nice and tight, uniformed coil, and you can push everything nice and tight down to the base of this. And then I take this end of it, as you can see right here. Hopefully everybody can see that. I take this coil and I push it right down to the end, and it's just a 6-wrap parallel, and it makes it really easy to kind of keep your parallels nice and tight. And then I just take it off of this, take this end of it right here, just like that. Make sure you bend this leg back around kind of where you need it at. And what I do is I just snip off what I don't need here. So we just push these off to the end, just like that. And what I like to do is make one leg of this coil right here. You can see both of these legs right here. I make one of these legs a little shorter than the other. And the reason I do that is because it makes it a whole lot easier to get it into your RDA without having to struggle to put 2 legs in at the same time. So I'm using the Twisted Messes 2 on my Ronin box, and I like to center my builds, and you're probably not going to get a good look at this because this is not on camera very well, but inside here you can see where you have your positive is over here. This is your positive. I can show you kind of, this is your positive, and this is your negative. What I like to do is when I'm putting this in here, I like to use one, say on the negative I use this hole over on this side, and then I use this center hole over, or the closest hole to the center on this side, and that kind of centers everything in there instead of trying to kind of, you know, offset your coils. Some people will offset them, and if that's what you like, that, you know, that's up to you, and this is all kind of subjective to whatever you like, but I like it to be centered so I can have the cotton be the same on both ends of that. So, you know, it just makes it a whole lot easier for me. But I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna put this coil in first, and we're just kind of set this to the side. It's just kind of like that. And you can kind of see where this coil sits at, and you're just gonna end up putting your coil right inside, and then you take your tool and set this coil in, tighten this down just like that, kind of get this straightened in here like this, and just like that. And then what you do is kind of push this coil. Let me see if I can get it in camera here. Push this coil over a little bit. Now, again, some people will bend this leg on like a 90-degree angle and make it a little prettier than that, but I don't, it's not a necessity for me. I find this works just as well just by pushing it over and getting it in the center of your RDA, or in the center of that deck. And then what I like to do is I like to clip these leads off so they're kind of out of my way. Clip these legs right here. And be careful, guys, because this, when you're using Kanthal and everything, it can fly around and kind of get everywhere. What you don't want to do is step on any of this stuff, especially if you're in your house and you're in bare feet. This stuff could hurt, and especially with pets and things like that. You know, of course, you know, pets don't wear shoes normally, so they're gonna get it stuck in their paws. That wouldn't hurt. That wouldn't feel good to them, I'm sure. So this is gonna be a dual parallel. So I'm gonna make one exactly the same way. So Basically, we're just going to cut another section of this off. And again, about 12 inches. And just bend this up just like that. And it just makes it easier, like I said, you know, using your tweezers as your anchor point. And it's just the way that I do it. Everybody has their own way of doing things. I just find this makes it easier for me. And I know a lot of people have asked me how I do parallels. Well, this is the tutorial on showing you how I do them. So again, just run your lead down through here, kind of hold it off to the side, make your first turn, and of course we're going to take that back out. Remember, that first wrap's not going to count. And just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just push it over, and then pull your lead back out like that, and then push this back in here, and just kind of straighten that leg back out, and then push it back down, and then pull real nice and tight on this so it kind of keeps everything nice and uniform, and then just pull everything out, and again you're left with that parallel again. And again, I'm going to clip off what I don't need. Just kind of clip that off, and then we're going to take it back to our RDA and then go on to the other side. And again, you're just going to go through the two other holes on your post. And what I like to do is kind of push everything down and go over to the top of that coil so it's a little bit easier to get to. And just run that all the way up into there, and run that side over here, and we're good to go. And kind of keep them both about the same distance apart. That way one of your coils, the legs are not longer than the other one. And kind of keep it the same. I mean, sometimes it's not perfect, but you can kind of guesstimate by looking at it how long those legs need to be. And just tighten everything nice and down, nice and taut. And just like that. And then again, push that coil over just like that. And then bring your legs up so you can cut them off of there. And just snip those legs off. Just like that. Alright. And then kind of bring your other coil back up to where you want it. And bring this one over here like this. Just like that. You can kind of see what those coils are going to look like. Alright, so then we're going to glow these up. Just pulse fire them a little bit. And what I like to do is strum these coils. Just like that. Just like that. And then they glow nice and even. And just kind of, you can kind of, like, as you're pulsing it, you can, like I said, you can take your tweezers as you're pulsing this and hold them tight. And then you can go, you can look at all these and kind of get it to glow evenly, just like this. So you can kind of see that they're glowing nice and even. Alright. Now, I'm going to go grab my ohm meter so we can ohm this out and you guys can see what it ohms out to be at. I'm guessing this is going to be right around somewhere 0.14. It might be a little lower than that. Might be a little lower than what I'm expecting. But usually about a 6 wrap on 24 gauge comes out to, and they're dual parallel, they come out to about a 0.14, 0.15. but these may be a little lower than that. But we'll check these out. Let me go grab my my ohm meter real quick, and I'll be right back, guys.